Emma. Huh? Emma.
Not anymore.
Emma.
Every day it's getting on my nerves.
Emma.
Oh, I'm
Emma.
begging you, please.
Emma.
Leave me alone.
Here at epiquestlive, we don't just use advanced technology for the sake of it. We developed our systems in the UK and America in conjunction with hospital infection control teams to produce exactly what they required to do their jobs more efficiently and effectively. That process has not and will not finish, as we're constantly adding new elements and modules to our systems based on requests from our customers. Let's take a look at the system. The epiquestlive interface engines link to as many of the hospital systems as possible. The minimum required is PAS and Micro, but surgery is also recommended as part of the minimum setup. In one of our USA hospitals, we have feeds from over 30 different systems to give us information for central line locations, vital signs, pharmacy data, devices, etc. Ideally, the feeds would be in the form of HL7, Health Level 7 messaging, but as this is not available in many UK hospitals, we can take files in any format, for example Word documents, Excel sheets, CSV files, and our system effectively turns the files into HL7 and feeds the data into our database. The epiquest database HL7 Live Listener program receives messages in real time from the hospital systems. The listener is multi-threaded and can therefore process an unlimited number of simultaneous messages. If an HL7 format file is not available, almost any file type can be delivered to the folder on the epiquest server. As soon as the epiquest listener detects a new file in the folder, it processes the file and enters the information into the database. The alerts engine is continually monitoring the system for any matches. If an alert is fired, the user can be notified by email, pager, text, SMS and via their home page. Each user has their own home page, and they can customize the look of the system to suit their individual needs. The first page the user sees is their own individual portlet page. A portlet is a mini live report that can show almost anything that they need to be notified about. For example, how many and what type of surgeries were performed in the last 24 hours, or how many positive results for C. diff on Ward 9 occurred in the last week. There are hundreds of these portlets in the library, and they can be dragged onto the page and used instantly. If the particular portlet that the user requires is not in the library, it can be created and dropped onto the server ready for immediate use. Next, we'll take a look at the alerts. Alerts are configured to the individual user's requirements. We can set an alert to fire for almost any event that you can think of. As an example, you might want to know if a returning patient had MRSA on their last admission, or you may want to be notified if ever there are 3 positive results for a certain bug in any given day. As an example of how flexible the alert system is, we've just been asked by Alder Hey Children's Hospital to set up an alert for any mention of the word sniffles. The alerts page refreshes each time the user logs on, but historical alerts are also kept and can be viewed using the alerts calendar. This is an example of an email alert that's received for methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, and you can see that it provides a great deal of detail, including bed location, the test status, and sensitivity results. Let's look at an alert in more detail. The result window appears, showing more detailed information. Any results that are outside of the normal range are automatically highlighted red. From here we can go directly into the patient information screen. Here we have the patient dashboard, which shows all the information that we have about this particular patient. If the patient requires isolation, a red band is displayed with the type of isolation detailed. If the patient has a current infection, that information is displayed here with the onset date and is removed as soon as the infection has ceased. If the patient has diabetes, that is displayed here with the type detail. The side panels show the 5 most recent admissions, the 5 most recent lab results, the recent surgeries, and the recent infections. We'll now look at the patient section in more detail. From the main patient page, you can select the patient search box. You can search by various criteria, and the more information you enter, the more accurate the result set will be. As you type in a search box, matching results are returned to speed up your search process. All matching surnames are listed. When a name is clicked, the patient panel below is populated. If you click the Admissions tab, you can see the admission information we have for this patient. It's important to note that we store everything on the epiquestlive system forever. So, for example, all of the previous admission data is stored for this patient, along with all of his other historical data. This is incredibly useful for statistical analysis, determining outcomes, drug treatments, etc., and increasingly as a tool to defend against the ever-increasing litigation culture. The admission panel presents the information that we have about that particular patient. Here we have next of kin information. Here we have any known allergies. Insurance details. Diagnosis, together with any diagnosis codes. Here we have the procedures with the procedure codes. This screen shows the location of the patient throughout the admission, and the history builds up over time to show exactly where the patient has been during that admission. Now we'll look at the laboratory results in more detail. Let's click on a recent result. The test result window opens to give us more detail. This shows the current status of the result. Any result that is outside of the normal range will appear in red. You can see all of the patient's laboratory results by clicking on the Laboratory tab. This shows all of the patient results. You can further sort the results using the filters. You may decide that you want to monitor this result, for example for a surgical site infection, in which case tick the Monitor checkbox. All of the monitored results are then displayed in the Monitor tab. Next, we will look at the Surgery tab. This section shows all of the patient's surgeries. Just click on the line for the detail of the surgery you want to see. This screen displays all of the surgery information that's held for this patient. For example, we have the cut to close time, the ASA rating, the wound class, the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, any devices that have been used, the procedures, the staff that were present, the scrub procedures, the allergies, and any drugs used. Next, we'll look at radiology. Here we show all of the radiology information, including the narratives and the impressions. Next, we look at pharmacy. The pharmacy section lists all of the pharmacy orders for the patient. Clicking on an order will take you to the administered pharmacy screen to track the administered history of that order. Next, the Patient Notes tab. To create a patient note, click the Create Note button. The amount of text that can be added is unlimited, and the author and the time and date stamp is added automatically. The patient note is then available for everyone on the system. You can also create alerts based on the contents of a note, and an unlimited number of notes can be added. A contact report is available live for every patient for every admission by simply clicking on the Go to Contact Report button. A list of all the patient's admissions appears, showing the admission number, time and date for each admission, and the units or wards that the patient was in for that admission. Clicking on a particular admission will take you to the detail showing who the patient was in contact with during that particular admission. A list of all the patients that were in contact appears, showing the patient record number, name, admission details, and any units that the patient had been in during that admission. Each line is hyperlinked so that clicking on a patient will open a new page with that patient's admission history, so that the user can trace the histories very quickly. A full contact report can also be generated from the Reports module by selecting the criteria required and running the contact report. A new module is the bed mapping module. A grid appears showing you all of your units and wards. This shows the total number of beds. This shows the occupied beds. And this shows the bed availability live. Clicking on a unit will show you the bed map for that unit. This shows each bed with summary patient information. We can color code each bed to indicate whatever you need to be notified about, diabetes, isolations, infections, for example. You can click on any bed to go directly into the patient dashboard for further information. Let's look at a typical scenario. The epiquestlive system detects a suspected infection and alerts the infection control team. They click the link on the alert and get taken into the patient's dashboard and straight into the relevant laboratory result. They click the bed map button on the dashboard and get taken to the exact location of the patient, showing his current position relative to other patients. All this takes less than 30 seconds and immediate action can be taken. Of course, the bed map can be used by many departments within the hospital. The administrator can set a flag so that detailed patient information, for example current infections, is not visible, so that reception can use the system for patient location. A&E might want to use the system for available bed location. Doctors, nurses can get full patient history, both current and historical information, instantly at the bedside via a smart device. This can include pharmacy orders and administered doses, radiology, lab results, surgery details, etc. Notes can be entered into the system live that are time and date stamped and tied to that particular encounter. We've just added central line locations to the bed map, so that central line counts can be made easily and fully automated. Contact reports can be generated automatically and instantly. It is probably worth reiterating here that maybe for the first time within a hospital, all of the patient information is now available in one place and is accessible via a smart device from anywhere with an internet connection, anywhere in the world. That could be at the bedside via a tablet or from the other side of the world for a remote conference. We currently have modules for PAS, laboratory, surgery, pharmacy, radiology, bed management and mapping, reporting, and HPA reporting as standard, but other modules can be developed as required. Now we'll look at the infection register section. To create the incident, we click the Create Infection Register button. A wizard guides the user through the incident creation screen, and once the screen is populated, we click Next to get to the full form. In this case, a primary bloodstream infection or BSI form appears. The form is then automatically completed using all of the information that we hold about this patient. The infection control expert then just has to do a quick check to confirm that all is as it should be. This saves a vast amount of time compared to filling the forms out manually. The form is then ready to be printed or exported into any other format. Now we'll look at the administration system. Access to this section is controlled by the system administrator, but it's in this section that you can edit alerts, create alerts, portlets, etc. In this screen, an alert template can be created using SQL commands and setting the mapping requirements. Of course, we can create the alerts for you, but if you have a skilled SQL programmer, you may want to create your own. Once a template is created, the alert is then ready to be deployed in the alert register area, where final settings can be made, for example the frequency and parameters that determine when the alert is fired, and also who is to receive the alert, and whether they should receive the full report or just a link back into the system. Finally in this section, the User Administration tab. This is where new users are created and existing users are managed. Enter the user information and tick the checkboxes to indicate which part of the system the user has access to. There are no additional licenses required for epiquestlive, so you can sign up as many users as you require. Each user has their own diary. You just have to click Add an Appointment to add a new item. Add the information that you require. There's no limit to how much text you can put into the notes field, and when you finish, just click Save. You can view and share your diary with other users. Finally, we'll take a very brief look at the report system. The report system is very powerful, and it can be used for reporting all aspects of the hospital's requirements, but we will concentrate on the infection control element. Each hospital has an index report page which will display all of the reports that are available to that hospital, and we'll take a look at the standard reports. We'll take a quick look at the H1N1 positive report. The report is then created live based on the criteria that's entered. The columns are all sortable by clicking on the column label. Once created, the report can be exported in several formats. Here we have XML, CSV, TIFF, PDF, web file, or Excel as standard. And of course the report can also be printed. Once a report has been created, it can then be scheduled to run at set times automatically and emailed to recipients. Simply select the days, times that you would like the report delivered. Once the information is entered, the report will be produced live and delivered according to the dates, times that have been set. We'll take a look at the Influenza A positive report. The report is created based on live data from the criteria that's entered. Here we have our antibiogram report. This report can be created live at any time. Typically, a hospital could spend several months collating the data to produce this report, but now with our system it's just a click of a button, and within 10 minutes a live antibiogram report is produced. We produce antibiogram reports for gram-negative, gram-positive and yeast. We supply 20 standard reports, but the reports engine can produce an almost unlimited number of reports, tailored to your exact needs based on any information that is held in our system. The reports can include graphs, graphics, statistical analysis, comparisons against standards, etc. Continuing support is very important to our customers and to us. We have a support portal which has a continually growing knowledge base and a support ticket system to get help as quickly as possible. To create a support ticket, just log into the support portal and click Submit a Ticket. You will be asked to select the department that you require help from. Select this and click Next. Add a brief description of your inquiry and attach any relevant files if required, for example screenshots. The ticket is then submitted to our back office system and is picked up by one of our support staff, both here and in the USA, which extends the working hours of our support team. The back-end system has a very sophisticated workflow management portal that will escalate the ticket until the ticket is dealt with at the appropriate level. When the ticket is answered, the user will get an email with the information and a link back into the ticket to either close the ticket or ask further questions. The tickets are stored forever, and a daily audit can be carried out to check that all ticket issues have been attended to. A ticket cannot drop off the system, and reminder emails are sent to the support staff every hour if a ticket is still open. Unlike emails and phone calls that end up on bits of paper, the support portal keeps an organized and accountable help facility running smoothly. If live support staff are available for instant help, the live chat facility will be available. Just type a brief description of your query and hit Continue. The knowledge base engine will scan the message to see if it has any articles available that might tackle this problem and suggest those to you before you proceed to the live chat if these do not answer your question. The live chat takes place and files can be sent back and forth, etc. Once the chat is complete, a transcript of the chat is sent to the user so that there's a record of the discussion. All of the information is also stored in our back-end system for future reference if required. Hopefully that gives you a brief overview of the system, but at epiquestlive we're always looking forward and developing our systems to meet future demands. Here are a few of the developments that we're currently working on. We are already developing smart alerts in one of our USA hospitals. As the information builds in our systems, we're able to use that information to provide smart alerts based on previous outcomes, drug efficacy, vital signs, treatments, etc. So the system can constantly check to see if a patient presents with similar matching symptoms and conditions and provide advisories for the hospital staff based on previous outcomes. We are now able to send alerts to the new generation of wearable devices using Android Wear technology. This shows an infection control notification being sent to the new LG G Watch, and we're currently working on a new instant messenger system that will be part of epiquestlive. We're developing an app for smartphones that will enable the pharmacy order to be loaded onto the phone with a QR code for dispensing the drug, and at the same time setting up the schedule for alarm reminders on the phone to take the dosage as required. Once the patient has acknowledged that the dose has been taken, that information can be updated to the EpiQuest account. Using our cloud technology, we are able to expand the geographic range of our systems beyond a single hospital setup. Cloud-based alerts, for example, will allow the system to check for preset alerts across any epiquestlive cloud-enabled hospital. So an alert can be set up to fire if a patient who had MRSA in Hospital A turns up at Hospital B without the hospitals having to share all of that patient's data in advance. The EpiQuest Passport app will again use our cloud technology to allow an individual to securely download their entire epiquestlive data to be used anywhere in the world. If they are treated in another epiquestlive hospital, the data will be able to be downloaded directly into that hospital's systems for immediate use. Any treatments, notes, observations, etc. will be updated via the app to keep the core epiquestlive record up to date. Thank you for watching this brief overview of our systems. We really have only just scratched the surface of what's possible using epiquestlive. I'll leave you with a real-life example of a recent event in one of our Ohio hospitals. Our systems have been running for 3 years in the hospital, and on day 1 we set up an alert for positive tuberculosis results. In this particular hospital, they get roughly 10,000 lab results through every day. The positive result for TB was missed in the manual checks, possibly because it was not expected. But the epiquestlive system, which looks at every bit of information coming through 24/7, picked up the positive result and alerted the infection control team immediately. After checking the result, they clicked the bed map and located the patient within 30 seconds, and took immediate action to isolate the patient and to put proactive measures in place for their staff. This one event probably justified the cost of our system for that hospital. Think of the cost of cross-infection to other patients and staff, not to mention the costs of litigation for negligence.